Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is June 7th, 2018, and this is Mastermind call number 180. I am talking to you from Las Vegas, Nevada today. I'm at a real estate conference out here. Any of you in the neighborhood, stop by the M Resort, and I'll buy you a drink. We're going to be in Phoenix next week at, I'm not sure where, but at the Explode conference in Phoenix. And we're going to do quite a bit of traveling for the rest of the year, guys. If you want to know where we're going to be in your city, just go to our alltheleads.com, hit the calendar, and you can look forward, look month to month, see where we're going to be every month. And also on there are all of our scheduled calls, mastermind calls. I know Chad did a role play call yesterday, and he had over 100 people on it, and he said it went for well over an hour, I think 90-some minutes. So, and all of that content is always posted in both the subscriber resource area and on our Facebook group. If any of you are not members of the Facebook group, just go to All the Leads Mastermind. It is a closed group, but we'll just verify that you're a realtor or an investor, and we'll let you into that group. Chad is not here this morning, so be easy on my other partner, Tim, and Tom and I. Our coach is on a plane back to Virginia from the conference, but I think between the three of us, we can still answer most of your questions. If it's over our head, we'll send an email to Chad, and we'll have him get back to you. Tim, anything you want to share with the group before we get to the people in the queue?
Yeah, I just want them to challenge you and make you look bad. So ask your hardest question.
Okay. Hasn't happened yet, but sooner or later it's bound to. Tom, are you on
the call? No, I think Tim had a good one there, but no, I just always remind everybody that if you need anything, you can always reach us by just sending an email to support@alltheleads.com. We track all those items and make sure that we get the appropriate people to get back to you in a timely manner. So please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for.
And speaking of the support, it's wonderful to have the support of my partners who want you to make me look bad. So thank you very much. All right. Well, we have 4 people in the queue. First up is phone number ending in 4444. You're up first.
Hi, that's me. I'm Louise.
Hi, Louise.
Hi. So we got your system before I started working with it, so I'm doing a lot of catch up on the phone calls, and it's going great. I like the layout of the screen and everything, and I like the way that you can, mark phone calls that are bad or, numbers that you can call back and leave notes. That's all really great. So what I'm finding though is when I go back to catch people that I wasn't able to reach, but let's say there were 4 phone numbers and maybe 2 of them were bad, so I marked that 2 of them were bad and 2 to go back to. And I'm finding I'm going up and down in the screen, scrolling to see, which numbers were good, which ones, should I not call, and then scrolling back to. So is there an easier way to do that other than trying to shrink my screen, which makes it hard to read? Or, I wish that, let me tell you what I wish. I wish that next to the phone numbers at the top, you had like a little box for, like this one is bad, don't use this one, so I don't have to always be scrolling back and forth or making little notes on my paper. Does that make sense to you? It just seems like a little, I don't know what you would do about it. I'm just presenting the issue for me because I'm just doing so much catch up. And that I thought it would be so much faster to go back through for a second pass because, I already found out the bad numbers. But really, it didn't speed up that much because of this issue. So suggestions are welcome.
Sure.
Okay, so let me take that on, and here's what I would say. First time we've heard that request, and certainly that's how we do our development work. So what you need to do is, if you please, anybody on the call, if there's anything that you think of that you think we need to take a look at to make your life easier, that's exactly what we're doing. We add features to our system based on what we hear from you guys. So if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you to just drop us a support, maybe screenshot or something, say, boy, it'd sure be nice if you could do this, and we'll take a look at it and add it to our development calendar if we think it's a fit for everybody. And from what you just said, that seems like that would make good sense, so shoot that to us. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Jim, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up just a little bit.
I was going to say that, but I thought maybe it was just me.
We're hearing like every third word, but I got the gist of what you said. Yeah, well, what I love about that is
every third word from me is worth it. Every third word from me is worth so many others.
I'll buy that.
Anyway, the point is, if you'll drop a note to support, we'll be glad to take a look at it, and we'll get you squared away.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
I love that. I love the question. After 5 years, I'm sure you're not the first person that has encountered that, but you're the first person that ever mentioned it, and it may be a relatively easy fix. What's kind of amazing about what we do, people have asked me, like, what did you build your platform on? Well, we built it on Tim's got an amazing platform software company. He's been doing this for longer than a lot of you have been alive, although him and I are about the same age. So we can custom do almost anything if there's enough demand for it. And so we'll take a look at that. It might be a relatively easy fix. We can't make any promises, but we appreciate you bringing it up. That's awesome.
That's great. Thanks for the consideration.
Yeah, and part of the reason that we built this way is that our view of the way software should work is that software should support your business, not make your business fit into somebody else's software design. So we kind of started from the ground up and built it as we needed things, and that's always been our philosophy. We try to do it. So if you're on this call and there are other things that, you're using our system, you're using our tools, and there are things you'd like to see us go do, jump on, tell us, and drop an email to support, and that's exactly how we grow and build. So let us know, and we'll work on it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. We have 4 more people in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 7024. You're up next. 7024, Better Homes and Gardens. Are you there? Sounds like you got yourself muted out. Tim, do you know how they unmute themselves? I'm assuming it's *6 and
depends on their carrier and their phone, bud. Can't be there.
All right, whoever you are, 7024, Better Homes and Gardens. I'm going to drop you, but please sign. Are you there now? Okay. Well, they apparently have us muted out. I'm going to drop you, but if you want to sign back in, just hit *6 and hit 1 again, and make sure you unmute yourself, please. Next up is phone number ending in 8797. You're up next.
Hey, Jim, it's Ellen.
Hey, Ellen.
How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for chiming in. I know you've had some good success this week. I've seen some of your email comments.
Yes, and I don't really have a question. I just wanted to share my success. This started technically. The system started May 30th is when my first letter went out, and I immediately got a call from a personal representative saying she got so many letters she can't even count them, but she called me based on the letter. And I met with her yesterday. Unfortunately, her situation, her estate has no claim on the property because the decedent purchased the property with a partner and took it as joint tenants. So the partner gets the whole property. However, I did turn her into a buyer because the estate does have other money. So I'm going to be helping her find a house. So that's working out. And I'm also going to approach the now sole owner of the property because he bought it as a partner. But from what the information, my research indicates that he doesn't have enough money to finish the project. They bought it as a flip. So I'm going to be able to hopefully approach him on a short sale and be able to get one of my investors in there and make that property. So I turned that into potentially 2 sales.
Wow, good for you. That's great.
On an estate that doesn't have anything. And then the ISAs started calling yesterday, and I got 2 appointments in one day.
Excellent. Boy, that is great. And, a couple things you said there, Ellen, that I really want to focus on with the group is one thing Chad always says is probate is not like FSBOs and expired. You're not going to focus on the property. Focus on the people first. And we have too many of our agents that say, oh, well, there wasn't, the heirs, the family member, the PR says, well, we already sold the property, or we're not going to sell the property, or maybe there wasn't any property in the estate. and the agent says, okay, and they move on, you know, what you're realizing there that we try to tell agents, you're talking to somebody who, even if they don't have anything you can list right now, they just inherited close to a couple $100,000. That's a good customer to put in your database to be a move up buyer, list their home, buy something nicer, buy some investment property. So great job in working that. And you know, go ahead.
I think that I kind of got that from attending these mastermind calls. I don't know that before I started attending the mastermind calls, I would have thought of that. I'd like to think I would, but you know, that subject has come up a couple of times in these calls, and so you know, I put what you said in the call into action, and was able to walk away with something.
Wonderful. And I know you're a very, very busy agent. You're not afraid to get on the phone, but you are so busy that you decided to use the ISAs as a better use of your time, just talking to the people that have been pre-qualified, and that's working out well for you too. So
yeah, there was one little challenge that, you know, since Tom is talking about, I don't know if him, but because, and by the way, I'm in an extremely competitive market. I'm in Los Angeles. So just in my immediate area, we have 11,000 realtors. So it's an incredibly competitive market. But anyway, one of the challenges was when the personal representative got the letter and called, we went online and put a do not call on that file, but the dialers load a few days before. So the ISA ended up calling that person, and the person says, well, I already have an appointment with Ellen. And the ISA says, you can't have an appointment with Ellen. So technically the ISA made 3 appointments, but that one doesn't count because I already had an appointment. But, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. We're actually going to change our procedure a little bit so that they automatically, instead of grabbing it in the beginning and queuing it up in their system, they're going to be very, very close to the time they actually start the campaign and they upload the most current information. It was just one of those things we never thought about, that if you're working them and they're working them, if they're already out there doing it, in most cases, people are just they're either doing it themselves or they're just using the ISA and letting the ISA do it. So it's kind of worked itself out. But now you're not the first person that said that. So we're working with them procedurally to make sure that they grab the most current list before they go do it, and hopefully we'll minimize or eliminate that problem.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You know, I guess none of us really expected the PRs to respond to the letters before they got a phone call. So that just, you know, shows the power of the letters. It definitely
happens, and of course, we've been doing these mailings now for, like Jim said, we're knocking on 5 years here, and that's why it's a 3-part system. You know, some people that get that letter, we think that we do an extremely good job getting the letters out, make sure they look great, and your letters are looking good to them and look better than your competition. And sometimes the person, it's always top of mind. If you're at the right place at the right time and it happens, that's what it's there for. And the other thing I'll just bring up, it's kind of on the same vein, is that we've had people in the last month or so on a couple of different calls who have decided to, you know, go back and take another whack at sending letters out, but going back to maybe 6-7 month old list. And we've tried it as well. We're always tweaking, looking at our system, and so we've done some targeted mailings to see what kind of responses came in. And invariably, when people go back to older lists, they find that finally, you know, they didn't completely ignore them in the very beginning and didn't respond to anybody, and eventually, you know, everybody gives up and doesn't deal with them anymore. 6 months later, you send a mailing out that's focused on probate, and you're going to find that you're going to hit somebody at top of mind at that point, whether it's 6 months or 12 months out. Those lists still have value. Maybe not doing them every single month, but being top of mind is the answer, and that's how it works.
Well, I can't wait till my list is 6 months old, but I'm working with my very first list and got 3 appointments of it. So, you know, kudos to you guys. That's amazing.
Well, thank you very much. And go ahead, Tim.
We appreciate you. I was just going to say, we appreciate, you know, your enthusiasm and the enthusiasm of the people that we work with. I mean, we certainly, we do this to make money and, feed our families and do the good things that we do. But when you run a business like this and deal with the people that we do, our joy comes from, hearing what you're telling us. We have to test everything that we do, and we love it when we get it right and we do it well, and that's how we sharpen our axe all the time. So we just love hearing about it. And, we certainly want to hear the problems as well, and everybody has them, but over the years, we've done a pretty good job of eliminating most of the stumbling blocks, and we love what's going on. So thank you very much. We love what you're doing, Ellen.
Okay, thank you, guys.
And Ellen, last comment, you brought up a few things there. You said one of these might potentially turn into a short sale. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the calls too. These are relatively easy short sales because the deceased person doesn't have to worry about financials. It's usually just one document the seller has to sign, send in, and this is an easy short sale process. And as you may know, my wife's done over 2,000 of them. If you need any help with that, let us know there also. If you don't want to work the short sale yourself.
Over 300. So.
Okay, so you're pretty experienced too. You two of you should compare notes occasionally.
That would be fun.
You.
War story.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing. We really appreciate it. Keep coming back.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, take care. We got 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 2397. You're up next.
Hey, good everybody. I just wanted to check in. I'm a new realtor, and I wanted to check out the phone call and see how everything's going. My name's Nathaniel, and I'm down in Southern California.
Excellent. Nathaniel, are you a subscriber yet, or are you just checking us out?
Right now, I'm just checking you guys out.
All right. Well, hopefully, listen to the rest of the call. We'll pass the test. If you need help, if you need help with anything, just reach out directly. You've got our where to find us.
Cool.
All
Thanks so much.
You.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Next up is phone number ending in 4301. You're up next.
Hey guys, it's Sam from Richmond. How are you?
Great, Sam. How's it going?
Great. I had a comment for the first person that was asking the question about the bad phone numbers. How can you change them or edit them or take them out of the lead? I don't know if this is the case with everybody, but I know with my leads, when I'm in the subscriber portal, I can actually edit the lead. Like there's a big edit button right at the top where the PR's name is, where the lead name is. So I can click edit, and then you can delete phone numbers. You can keep, if you want to keep the phone number, but like put a note that it's a bad number or something like that. You can do all of that. It should already be in the system to be able to rectify that situation, like be able to take out bad numbers.
Tim, any comment there?
Yeah, I think, yes, and I think what Sam said obviously is the case. We about 2 months ago gave you guys the ability to edit in any way that you wanted. It's your data, so you can do whatever you want. Initially, when we did this, we maintained a master database, and we were showing you a view to the master database for everything. And then about, it's probably been more than that, 3-4 months ago, we broke it up. So now each time we deliver data, we literally make a separate copy for you so that you have it. We maintain a master, but you have a separate copy for yourself. So you can indeed edit every aspect of it. You can change the customer's name if you want, and sometimes that's something that you need to do. There oftentimes the court data is misspelled, or there's lots of things you can go change. And she's right, you definitely can do that. I think that what the first caller was looking for was the ability to maybe deal specifically with the phone numbers a little bit easier when they're doing dialing for dollars rather than so much the edit. But I want to look at what comes in on the support request and then take what Sam said into consideration and see if we can put them both together and make it a little bit easier for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I know the edit function for me was a huge thing because a lot of times I would pull property records or I would find property that the deceased owned, and it turns out it was actually put into the name of a daughter instead of the son who was listed as the PR. So I would be able to go in and add them or edit the PR to have, a different name, or if I found a better phone number, if I spoke to somebody that said, no, whoever is handling it, here's their phone number. I could go in and add it or edit it. It just made it really easy for me to be able to change that information. And then if I needed to pull a list from it, the edited information was what, came out when I exported a list. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
No, that's great. And as we add, more lead types and more things like this, obviously we're going to add a lot more feature functionality to our back end, to the CRM. And I'd love to get feedback like this, so that's great. And I think, Sam, a couple of the requests you made are part of the reason we broke the editing out to begin with, so you could do it. So thanks a bunch for that, too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, guys. That's all I had for today.
I was just going to comment on one. Yeah, thank you. One thing you said there, especially when you're calling the third or fourth phone number, sometimes it'll be a relative or somebody who lives at the same address. It's interesting. We hear from our people all the time. If you just ask that extra question, instead of saying, "Oh no, I'm not handling it," and hanging up, asking the extra question. Okay, great. Can you tell me who I should be calling? They're usually very glad to give you somebody else's phone number. so they
that generally exactly. Especially if they're like, "No, stop calling me. I'm not," because even if they are, sometimes it'll be the first phone number will be a daughter or somebody else, like you said, who lives in the house but isn't really handling anything. They're happy to give you information because that means you'll stop calling them. So they're happy to give you whatever you need.
Exactly right. It all comes to, like we said, the first question about, people that sold their property, just asking good questions. That's what this is all about, and focusing on the people and trying to help them. So
right.
Great point. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Well, we have two more in the queue. We got plenty of room for more. Just hit *6 and hit 1. And then next up is phone number ending in 1319. You're up next.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Great. How about you?
Hey there.
Good. Hey, I apologize in advance just in case my 2-month-old here. I'm working from home today, and if my 2-month-old decides to chime in, she may chime in. Okay.
No problem. We'll answer her questions too.
Okay.
We might be able to handle them.
I just started making dials here last week, and I'm a new real estate agent as well as of about 2 weeks. So this is kind of my main focus is this whole probate. I had a call this morning with a lady. It was like my first call of the day, and she has like a financial advisor that seems to be a friend that's kind of helping her with this process. And I asked about, like any situational stuff that she needed help with and if there was any real estate in the estate, and she said that there was. She said that she had a year-long contract, though, with Coldwell Banker. And, obviously, again, even though I'm new, I'm like, that seems to be a really long contract. Why did you have such a long contract? And she really didn't know. So my question is, and I asked her, do you have any way to back out of it just in case? Because she's like, yeah, I really don't know without breaching because, I want to sell the house, and I, because if it comes to a year, I basically said, and, are you still planning on handling the finances for the house? And she's like, no, and that's why I want to sell the house, but I'm in this year contract here with Coldwell Banker, so I'm trying to figure out how I can follow up with her. She said it was okay to follow up with her. She gave me an email address, and I sent her the website, and I said to follow up with her. But any thoughts, any recommendations as to what to come back with her about that?
Yeah, as a 40-year realtor, the first thing I would tell you is, have you checked the MLS to see if it is listed?
I have not yet.
Okay, because that's the first place I would go. And you may have just gotten slightly beaten to the punch by a very aggressive agent who realized that probate can sometimes take time. The average one is 3 to 4 months, but if there's complications, it can take longer. So you may have just reached she may have run into a very savvy realtor that just took a long listing to protect themselves. That's kind of what it sounds like. And I would check the MLS. If it is listed, then the ethical thing to do is just back off. You don't want to interfere with another agent's listing. If it isn't listed, if you don't see it in the MLS, then call her back and just ask her, have you signed a listing contract? If she has, you really want to back off. You want to, that doesn't mean you can't supply her with, service and help, and,
Sure.
maybe you'll add her to your sphere of influence, but don't interfere with another agent if they actually have it listed. And one other thing I was going to add is the new agent. This is a great niche for you because was this lady local that you spoke to, or was she long distance?
So no, I believe local. Yeah, she's local. So I'm in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it's Oneida, Wisconsin, which is basically kind of like suburb-ish of Green Bay.
Okay.
So
because I was going to say often they're not local and they don't know you from the agent that runs TV ads and has signs everywhere. So it's a great niche for a new agent to compete in. But that's the first place I would start. See if it's listed, and if it is, just politely back off. You can help her with other things, but back off. Interfering with another agent's listing on that property. And congratulations on getting on the phone and taking immediate action. You'll get your share of them to keep that up. Anything you want to add, Tim?
Yeah, the only other thing I was going to suggest is that I would file it away. If you do find that it's listed, I'd file it away and take a look at it and see what it looks like in maybe 3 months later. Just give her a buzz back and ask how it's going, because what you may find is that she begins to get impatient with the existing agent, and she may have the ability to get out of it. Even a long listing like that, sometimes there are exit clauses. A smart person might sign it, but they would give themselves an exit as well. That after a 3-month interval, without performance or whatever. I would just be in touch and say, how's it going, and have you sold the house yet? You might have a buyer. There's no reason not to check back. I'm really getting tired of these people that I'm working to plug on that. It's at least a conversation.
Tim,
correct.
Tim, you're breaking up again, but really bad this time. I'm not sure what's going on with your phone there, but sorry.
I'll call back.
All right, no problem. And I would just finish what Tim said. Please don't ever suggest to them that you have an out, try to get out of the listing. It's just not the ethical approach to take. But you could certainly represent her as a buyer's agent once that property is sold. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah. Again, I didn't want to step on a current real estate agent's toes, and like I said, I don't know all of those things as far as morality and ethics and all that. Yeah. In that situation. So, and then my other question was, and yeah, that's kind of what I was going off of. Is like, okay, like what if it gets to that point where, it's not being sold and she's worried about having to take on, the cost of the house. I don't know any of the details of the house or anything like that from speaking with her because she was at work. But the other question is as far as following up. So like a system that I've used in the past is like a Salesforce CRM. With your system, do you have a way to like, set this lead up, a month out, 2 months, 3 months out, or is it something that I have to set up in my own? Any thoughts? Yeah, hopefully Tim is signing back in, but I believe our CRM, as a matter of fact, I know it does. You can schedule it for a future call. You can go as far out as you want. And I would also say this: if it is listed with an agent, call the agent, introduce yourself, and just say, I spoke to her. I specialize in probate, and really actually try to help the agent sell the property. That's sure a good way to win over the person to be your client in the future if you're the one that actually sells it. Sure, absolutely. And another thing, any ethical issues or anything like that. I mean, every area is a little bit different. You never really want to step on another realtor's listing, but check with your broker on that too, and get your broker's advice on the best way to handle it. Okay. All right. All right, sir. But congratulations on taking good initial action. And Tim, it looks like you're back. Anything else you wanted to share with this gentleman?
No, I'm sorry I was not able to be heard before, and you're all good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and welcome aboard. And please keep calling in. Let us know how you're doing. Thank you. All right. Take care. We have 3 more in the queue. Phone number ending in 0731. You're up next.
Hi, this is Joe. It's my first time on the call. I am in the Mastery program, but I haven't had a chance to watch the video yet of the webinars. But okay. I had a couple of questions because I have it was a referral to a probate from a friend of a family member. And I'm in California, and I don't know if I think it varies by county. So one of the things I think I understand is so my question is really about the listing process and the transaction process as opposed to the marketing and the getting the leads of it. So what I understand in our area that you can only take a 3-month listing, and does that normally vary by county across the nation? It is? Okay.
I don't know. I personally don't know anywhere in the country where you're restricted to the length of a listing. Where did you hear that from?
I forgot if I Googled it or it wasn't from the attorney.
I think you might be misreading something. No, the courts usually don't interfere. Or first of all, if the property was testate, if they died with a will, then the court's probably not even. This is really no different than a regular listing. You're just dealing with motivated absentee owner, and the only difference is you just won't be able to close for a while until the probate's completed. If they died without a will and there's a court-appointed receiver or personal representative, maybe they're advising them not to. Yeah, advising them not to list for more than 3 months. But I suppose it's possible a court would order that, but I've never run into that before. I've never heard of that.
Okay, I don't have anything from the court necessarily that specifies it. So what I'm trying to do, I guess, is not really trying not to mess up the listing. It's the woman doesn't speak much English. She's here from another country. Her husband died. And the place it's really a fixer. It's been in so much disrepair. Mm-hmm. And there's debris everywhere. There's personal property everywhere, and it just doesn't show well. So normally I would get professional photos done on a listing, and on this one I thought, well, I don't really know if it's worth it because there's like plungers everywhere, and so it doesn't show well. And she's not that capable physically, nor is she capable because she doesn't drive and doesn't speak English really well. So I'm a little torn as to the best way to go about marketing this listing so that it's sold. Now, the woman who's helping her, she's not on the court documents. She's just a friend. The friend told me, we want this much money for the house, which is probably, it's pushing market value. Or we won't sell it. And I didn't say anything, but in my mind I'm thinking, does she have an option not to sell because she can't afford the payment, so she has to sell, but yet she's relying on this family friend to help her make the decisions. And okay, so that's one. And my other questions really had to do with setting the price, staging, and who determines the price. Is it the attorney, the probate attorney, that sets the price? Does it have to be listed at market value, and does it have to be listed for like several weeks to get as much offers? So it's really about how is it different from any other listing, basically.
Yeah, again, it would depend if it's like, is there a court-appointed receiver, or are you dealing directly with the executor that was named in the will? Do you know?
The wife is the executor, but again, she's not making any decisions. The attorney is sort of involved, but not, he was just trying to direct. What he was trying to do was tell me how to do the listing and what verbiage to put in the listing based on another realtor that he knows. And when I looked at it, I said, no, I'm not doing that. I don't need to add. I don't want to muddy the listing by adding more verbiage to it than it already is. So I told him, no, I wasn't going to do it.
I got it. Well, first thing I would do is get it listed. It doesn't sound like there's an outrageous price there, so I would get it. Normally I'd try to communicate with the seller what the value is if there's a language issue. Get it listed for the price they want. If it's not outrageous, I know you're in a very strong market there, and it'll probably sell. But you probably don't have an investor option because they're not going to discount it, 20 or 30% for an investor. I know what Chad would probably say is try to find a landlord in that market. The landlords a lot of times will pay, even if it needs a little bit of work. Can you do a tax roll for the neighborhood and see who owns multiple properties in that neighborhood?
Oh yeah. Okay. Good idea. Okay.
Yeah, because they typically will pay 90%, maybe 95%. They might even pay retail if it doesn't need a lot of work. if they have a rental portfolio in that neighborhood. That might be a real good place to find somebody that would give her close to retail and wouldn't be overwhelmed with cleaning it out and doing some cosmetics and junking it out. The other thing you could do is try to. Is she still living there? Is the lady in the property?
She is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't really have the option of having an estate sale company come in and clean it out until she moves. Is she willing to move prior to it selling, or is she going to stay there till it closes?
She's going to stay there, I think, until it closes. And unfortunately, she's had a few people kind of come and help her remove some of these things, but I think I need to call Salvation Army and see what they can come pick up, because
there you go. Yeah, because the estate sale company is not going to be of value until you know. I mean, they might be. They might come in if there's anything of value and buy it while she's there and help you clean it out. It's going to be a little more difficult with her there. So I would, number one, get it listed. Number two, try to find the landlords that own property in that area. You may be able to double end it that way. In the meantime, start helping her get it cleaned out as much as you can, like Salvation Army and things like that she's willing to part with now. But no, it doesn't sound, and it sounds like you have an attorney who is giving suggestions, but is not overly interfering. So I would take a 6-month listing over there and just get her to sign it at the price she wants, and at least you're her realtor then, and you've got control, and you can start working on getting it sold.
Oh, one other question I almost forgot.
Sure.
I understand, at least in this area, that NHD, they're exempt from certain disclosures, like the natural hazard disclosure report. Do you normally just order it anyway and just have the seller pay for it at closing?
Yeah, if we have another California realtor on the line, that would be, I am in Florida, so every state has those type of disclosures, and again, I would probably ask the attorney handling it the best way I don't want to give you advice on that because I'm not familiar with your laws, but ask the attorney who's handling the probate the best way to handle that just to be safe.
And let me add one other thing, and this kind of goes back to what you said to start with. You were talking about about not being able to do an agreement for more than 90 days. Is that what you had said before, right?
That's what I Googled, and I believe I've found.
Okay, so
but not from the attorney.
Yeah, here's what I understand about that, and this is particular to your marketplace, and what that has to do with is the Independent Administration of Estates Act that you guys operate under out there, and what it says is that you can do a listing of 90 days under the Independent Administration of Estates Act without court approval. If it's going to be more than that, then you've got to get court approval for it, even if the personal representative has filed for the Independent Administration of Estates. In other words, full authority to do it. So that's kind of what you need to look up is the law and any information and ask the questions about this Independent Administration of Estates. And in your market, you should become familiar with that. And also that's something that you may want to add to the questions that you ask your PRs when you talk with them. Do they have full authority to deal with that? But that's where that duration comes from. It's up to 90 days. You can do it without court approval if they have the ability to do that. Even if they do have full administration, they will have to get approval for one that is longer than that. That's what I understand. Now, we're not here to give you legal advice, so I'm directing you to definitely find out yourself and get more info, but that's what I found.
Okay.
And by the way, Ellen Griffin, who's in your market, has just chimed back in. Let me see if she has a comment on that.
Okay.
Ellen, I had a feeling that you had a comment on that. Do you?
Yeah. As realtors, our job is to manage expectations. So the buyer knows that the estate does not have to provide an NHD report. So I would put it in the private remarks that seller will not pay for an NHD report, but that doesn't prevent the buyer from paying. It's a $120 report. If that's something that's important to your buyer, then have the buyer pay for the NHD report. It's $120, or if you want to suggest to the buyer's agent to pay for the report. I personally don't pay for anything, so.
You don't pay for anything. Okay.
No.
That was my other question is how much do you have them pay?
Once you set that mindset that you're willing to kick in your money, they pick your pocket forever.
Yeah, that's true. I was wondering about paying for that. as well, and also paying for the hauling work to
No.
be done. Okay.
No, your job is to sell real estate, and you do a fantastic job doing that, and that's what you get paid for. Everything else everything else is somebody else's responsibility, and you can facilitate it, but don't pay for it.
Mhm. Okay. I'm glad you said that, because I've been losing sleep the past couple of nights thinking, do I pay for the hauler to come in? Do I, just to get it so it shows better? And do I pay to get her moved out somehow?
California, are you in?
I'm in Contra Costa County.
Oh, so you're in Northern California. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. If you want, you can have my phone number and give me a call. I've been doing this 19 years. I haven't been doing probate for 19 years, but I've been a successful realtor for 19 years. So.
Ellen Griffin, ELLEN?
Yes. GRIFFITH.
Oh, Griffith. Okay, TH. What area are you in, Ellen?
I'm in the Valley, in San Fernando Valley in Southern California.
Oh,
but you can look up my website. It's ellengriffith.com.
Got it.
And you can get my phone number from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Guys.
Ellen, thank you so much. And just a little bit of a teaser. We're working on unveiling a divorce program. Ellen's written a book on divorce, and so we're working with her on that for a future offering down the road. And she has been around a long time, Ellen. We really appreciate you helping.
My pleasure.
All right, so
hopefully
that helps. Okay, thank you, Ellen, for chiming in.
Okay.
Joanne, does that answer your question?
Yes, it reassures me and gets me back on track. I appreciate it.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 1485. You're up next. Hi, Mary. You're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear us?
I can. Am I better?
Okay.
I moved. Okay.
Yeah,
are you on? Couple questions. I'm sorry. Say it again.
Are you on speakerphone, Mary?
I am. Should I turn that off? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, can you? We're getting a lot of interference.
Okay.
Are you there now?
Yes.
All right, that's a little better. Not much, but go ahead.
Okay, I just have a few questions. I am in the Denver area. I have been on for 3 months now. What is the usual target before you get a lead in my area?
Boy, I cannot hear you. Could you hear what she said, Tim?
Not really. And if you don't mind, I want to hear your question, and I really want to get an answer, but I think you should call back in. We've got plenty of time. Why don't you hang up and call back in, because we really can't hear you.
Okay, I will do that. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Next up is phone number ending in 1616. You're up next.
Hi, this is Mary. And
Hi, Mary.
I have a question for you. I built a website with Jeremy at All the Leads, and I've assembled a team of people. And I have like an estate planner and a move manager, and not an estate planner, an estate sale person, an auction house, a move manager, all those different components. And I was showing it to a team leader in my office yesterday, actually a couple of them, and their first comment was, you don't want to have all these people's contact information on there, because then they can just hire a different realtor and use all of your hard work of assembling and vetting people. I was a little bit taken aback, because I guess on some level, if somebody wants to do that, they're going to do it anyway. But I was just wondering because I really used your website as a template, so I'm sure you've tested that, and I'm sure that you've probably mulled that over in your mind. What are your thoughts on that?
What's the concern again? I want to make sure I understand.
Their concern was that somebody that needed help liquidating a property would go to my site, pick up all of my team leaders and hire them to do their part of the job, and then use a whole different realtor.
So here's the thing I would say about that. You've got a couple of things to consider. Certainly, there are people who would unscrupulously and potentially do that, and that might happen. The chances of that occurring versus the chance that the people that you've listed on your team are going to continue to be happy to be on your team because they might occasionally get a call from a customer is far greater than that, and I would say stay the course. We've never had
that's how I felt. I just needed to hear it from you.
And to take it further, like Jim said, we've been doing this a long time, and we've been at this a long time. And if that happened, and if you found out that happened, and you called back in and told us that, I can promise you it would be the very first time we would have ever heard of that happening. And we encourage people to do exactly what you're doing. Build that team and get some good benefit for both you and the team by putting their information on there. It's always helpful to do that. It makes you look better, makes them look better. So while anybody can be cynical and suspicious about other people's motivation, I think the chances of that happening are small. And I think the other side of it, you've got far more upside than downside.
Thank you. I agree with that. I mean, my feeling is if they choose an agent that didn't go to all that trouble, why in the world would they choose an agent that didn't bother to go to all the trouble to pull together the resources instead of one who did?
And if they did do that, here's the truth. If they did do that,
you don't want to work with them.
They're not going to be your customer anyway.
Exactly. Okay, good. I feel good about what I'm doing. I'm forging forward.
Rock on.
Well, welcome aboard. We have a great turnout this week. We got 4 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 6248. You're up next. That's you, Joyce. Phone number ending in 6248. Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me? I'm Joyce.
Yep, we can hear you now. Welcome, Joyce.
I have a question on my list of leads. A number of the entries I have when I go to the MLS to check to make sure that the decedent owned the property, a number of them are, well, I shouldn't say a number, but a handful of them have a different person's name on the MLS, not the decedent, not the PR. So I'm wondering what that means.
Yeah, it sounds like you're checking the last known address. Is that what you're doing?
I'm checking the address of the decedent in the MLS to make sure they own the property.
Yeah, that's almost irrelevant. We tell you don't pay too much attention to that because the last known address is not necessarily the property that's involved. The last known address is just where they lived when they passed away, and that often will be a nursing home, a care facility, a hospital, living with relatives. You really don't need to take that extra step. Really, the only way to know for sure the property that is owned is to contact the heirs, and ask them. That's why we encourage you. We give you the last known address of the deceased because probably a majority of the time it is going to be the property, but you can't automatically assume that. And we always tell our agents, Joyce, don't over-screen the leads. Don't overthink it because often you could get the name of the deceased and check everywhere in the county and they don't own anything. Then you call the heirs and find out that they did, that the property was in a corporation or a trust or when the heir was dying, they deeded it over to a family member. So you're kind of taking an extra step that you don't need to take there, honestly. Does that make sense?
Okay, so then what I should be doing is just mailing the letter to the PR that you've listed without regard to the decedent's property.
Correct. We've tried to check, and we find that about 30% of the time, if you check the tax rolls and find out there's no property, there is actually property owned. So you're probably screening out good opportunities, and you're also checking addresses that might have been a nursing home or a care facility or somewhere else that the person lived their final days in. So it's just an extra step that you don't need to take.
Oh, that helps a lot. Well, thanks so very much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
I just add one other thing to that too, and this is something else to look at, is that you may also find that, and since you're asking the question, I'll bring it up. You may find that you see PR addresses for personal representatives that are not local to you, and you may think, well, that may not be a good opportunity as well. Those are some of the best possible ones. If the personal representative lives in New York and the property's in California, or the person passed away in California and somehow they're still the PR, they're going to be highly motivated to get that taken care of. So that's something that you also want to look at. And again, I'm going to fall back to the same thing we said: mail the letters, make the phone calls. That's how you achieve success. We've been at this for a good long time, and that last known address is an indicator, but definitely don't screen off that. You will miss opportunities.
I sure appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Next up is Ellen Griffin, and I think you're still in the queue from the last contribution. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Ellen? Okay, I think she was just in there from her previous comment. So next up is phone number ending in 1660. You're up next.
Shoot. Are you guys there?
We are here, yes, sir. Don't
okay,
shoot.
for some reason everybody's cutting in and out today. I don't know what's going on, but
yeah.
Anyways,
something
my name's
something
Lucky.
in the
I'm
air.
in Ohio. Yeah,
yes, sir.
I'm in Ohio. My name's Lucky. I've called in before. I've been doing this with you all for 3 months now, and I'm glad I got to go after the last lady, because I was kind of getting caught up in that same area that you said. Don't worry about where the deceased living was, but I do use the ISAs, and one of the leads or one of the appointments that they did set was a lady living in Louisiana that was the PR, I guess I call him executor, and then the deceased was also living in Louisiana. So I guess my comment or suggestion is so when the ISA set that appointment, I went ahead and called, and it was a long drawn out deal, but got a hold of who I needed to talk to finally, and looks like it might be going somewhere, but you never know with these things. I guess my question was I was never given the address in Ohio. I was hoping that the ISA would say, oh, wait a second here, Louisiana. I think one of the good would be, especially if they set the appointment, which they did, would be to say, okay, can you help us, or what is the address, what is the location of the property? I don't know if that matters, or am I still getting tied up in all that?
Oh, no, that's a great point. I thought you were going to say he didn't give you enough time to fly to Louisiana, so that's a good thing. But
well,
no, they should.
Yeah.
They should be providing you with the address of the property. Yeah, that is one of the questions they're asking, correct? Or they should be asking.
Yeah, I believe that they are, but we'll definitely check on that. I'm going to make a note of that and make sure that they are. But I'm sure we'd have heard about it long before now if they weren't. So they may have just not done it on that one, and we'll make sure that we push that hard, because we obviously know we need to know about it if they weren't.
And by the way, he dropped off. I'm not sure what happened, but I was going to say, all of you, if you are using, are you still there, sir, or not? No, I think he got disconnected. It sounded like he was on the road.
Lucky. He was having a bad connection anyway. That was Lucky. We've talked to him several times before. Exactly.
I was going to tell everyone who is using the ISA, you actually have the ability in most cases to go in and to actually listen to the person setting the appointment for you. And yeah, I mean, these people aren't perfect, but they're very good. I made 100 contacts a day for 8 years as an agent, and I'm telling you, these guys are good on the phone. They're very pleasantly persistent. They don't take no for an answer, but they're not overly, aggressive or rude in any way. So if you want to, on a case like that, he probably could have jumped in, and it may be that they did get the address of the property, they just didn't give it to him. But we'll check on that. If you find things like that happen, let us know. And it definitely is one of the questions. It sounds like it just got missed on that one, Lucky. And go out and turn that into an appointment as Lucky, and come back next week and tell us that you were lucky and you listed it. And we have one more person in the queue. That's perfect timing, guys. We'll probably finish right at the hour mark. Mary, you were having a connection issue before. You're back. Can you hear us now, or can we hear you?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me now?
Still better, but you got like a buzzing, and I know it's not your voice, but there's a buzzing in the background, but it's better. I can understand you. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have a quick question. I have been in working with you for 3 months. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I have not received any leads. So I talked to Cindy the other day, and well, first of all, I heard Chad saying that the more letters you send, of course, and the more phone calls, the better things are. So I went in, talked to Cindy, and told her I wanted to do calls for a year. And she thought that was not a good way to attack this. So she said to call in and have you guys tell me what you thought was the best thing. She suggested doing the 3 calls and then another call in 10 months. So I just need an idea of what I should be doing.
Sure. And I wish Chad was on the call. He could give you a better insight. When you say you haven't received any leads, I think you meant you haven't got any listings, Chad. Is that what you were saying? Because obviously you're.
I haven't even received a lead that I can call somebody yet.
Oh, well, you're getting probate leads. You're saying the ISAs.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Right.
So the ISAs haven't set any appointments for you. Have you gone into the comments after they made the calls? Have you gone into the CRM and seen what kind of comments they're getting from people? And is it that the people just aren't interested? Are they getting a lot of call me back later? Are you working the leads in? Go ahead.
Okay. From what I've seen, it just looks like most of the people are not answering and they're leaving messages.
Okay. What market you're in, Colorado?
Colorado. I'm in Denver, Arapahoe County.
Yeah. I can tell you for whatever reason, one thing we noticed, this program works nationwide, but there are regional differences. Our Colorado agents seem to do extremely well with older leads. So I'm not sure that I would, yeah, they really do. We've had a number of them that have gone back and called year-old leads and done extremely well with them. So I'm not sure that I would tell you not to call them a year old. I think maybe what Cindy was saying is, you don't need to commit now to call them for a year. Maybe take it a month at a time. Is that, Tim? Is that what you get out of it? Do you have?
Yeah, I mean, we don't. Well, here's the reason. We don't want you in a situation where you're locking yourself into saying you're going to do something for 12 months. We want this to work for you. So I think what Cindy's point would be is the 3 and 3 program, which is a 3-month, 90-day program, works well. Jim's making a really good point. We've had lots of years of time with this now, and in your market, in particular, in Colorado, we do find that initial response has not been good. And I don't know, but my suspicion has always been that it's a heavy investor market. I have lots of friends over there, and property does move very well in that market. It's also seasonal in regard to vacations and things like that. But I think the other thing that happens is that initially maybe the low-hanging fruit is getting nailed up by investors who are potentially pulling obits or whatever, and they're barraging people to start with lots of stuff. And so the low-hanging fruit's not falling off the tree as quickly as it is in other markets. But as we said in the earlier call, I'd still do the 3 and 3 to begin with, just like you're doing, and then I would come back and I'd set a tickler, and at 6 months, I would do another round of mail and another phone call, and I would just test it at the end of that period. And in order to do that without killing yourself, and we can look at your county, you could potentially go out and get a historical set of data for 1 month that is 6 or 7 months old, and try to do it with a historical month. Wow.
I've lost you.
Hey, Jim, mute her line. Let me finish talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and we'll bring you back on. But you were buzzing really badly there. All I was going to say is, in your marketplace, one of the things I'd suggest is maybe that you pick up a month of historical. Those are only $1 a lead, and take the historical data from about 6 months old and try a quick mailing and phone call campaign to them at about a 6-month interval. And we'll work with you to get that done and see if that bears some better fruit for you as well.
Yeah, Mary, we've had a number of agents in Colorado that try it for a month, 2-3 months, they quit, and then 4 or 5 months later they come back because they got a half a dozen listings from their initial campaign. So there definitely is a delayed effect there. So that might be. I'm going to try to unmute you and see if we're able to talk to you one more time. Are you there, Mary?
I am, yes.
Okay, yeah, we just got real bad interference on your end. Did you hear what Tim said? Maybe to test it, give us a call and we'll get you some data that's already 6 months old and try it for a month there. The nice thing is probably 70% of those are going to be sold, maybe higher, maybe it's 80%, but the 20 or 30% that aren't sold, you're going to have absolutely no competition, and almost all of them are going to be done with the probate process and ready to sell. So your conversion rate is probably going to be real high on the ones that, that haven't done something already, because, nobody else is going to be contacting them and they're going to be ready to go. So that might be a good way to test it before you commit. But in any case, we don't ask you to sign an annual contract. We're never going to ask you to commit to do anything for a year. It has to work for you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. How do I go about getting this data? I would like to do this.
Yeah, send an email, support@alltheleads.com. I'll pick it up and I'll go back and grab that for you. We'll get it off to you today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Let me suggest you do one other thing, and I'm serious about this. You definitely are having a problem with your phone. It's not just our line doing that every time you came back in and do it. You should call somebody else there and see. There may be some problem literally with your phone, and you may not be able to hear it, but it's really bad on our end. I'd check it out and see if you can figure out what's wrong with your phone, because you don't want to continue to do that.
Okay. I will also do this today.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, guys. Another great call. I think nobody embarrassed Tim or I or Tom, and we did pretty well without our coach this week. And we really appreciate you guys. I always like to end these calls the same way. You took an hour to be here. There's well over 150 people on the call. You took an hour out of your week to be here. I really want to thank you sincerely for showing up. We want to thank you for your support, particularly thank the half a dozen or so people, maybe 10 of you that participated. And I always like to end these calls the same way. Take one idea, one thought, one thing that you heard that kind of inspired you on the call today. Go out and put it into practice next week, and please come back next Thursday and share it with the group. Thanks so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we'll talk to you same time next Thursday. Take care.